Democrats, they are in a state of panic. They are desperate. So in lieu of any traditional campaign or running on the novel idea of answering the question, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Well, the Democratic Party, they are now relying on another political tactic. You can call it the weaponization of our Justice Department or simply just call it lawfare. In New York City, Alvin Bragg and Judge Juan Merchan's bogus case against Trump has all the elements of a left-wing lawfare campaign, including a politically driven DA, prosecutors who are active in the Democratic Party, a jury pool from one of the most anti-Trump Republican conservative districts in the entire country, and, of course, a partisan hack judge who heavily and obviously and clearly favors the prosecution. What we have seen from New York Judge Juan Merchan is a disgrace to our Constitution and our system of justice. He hasn't just tipped the scales against Trump. Time and time again, he has acted as the prosecution's friend and ally. And as I've been saying, basically, here's the scale of justice. He's throwing cinder blocks on the scales of justice. There's no doubt that Juan Merchan wants Trump convicted, and he's doing everything damn well possible to make that happen. And tonight, more damning evidence of Merchan's judicial misconduct, to put it politely. His jury instructions were, well, not only unconstitutional, but rather insane. Here's former U.S. Attorney Andy McCarthy explaining Merchan's latest gift to the prosecution. Take a look.
What's supposed to happen in a criminal trial is a prosecutor has to prove every element of an offense beyond a reasonable doubt. What this judge is telling this jury in this kind of make-it-up-as-you-go-along New York State prosecution of federal law is that when they get to the end of the rainbow and we get to the elements of the offense, the jury doesn't have to be in agreement on what it is exactly that Trump did or what he was trying to commit or conceal when he allegedly falsified his business records. So they're going to give the jury a menu of choices and tell the jury that some of them may believe that this was the criminal objective. Some of them may believe something else was, but that they don't have to be unanimous on that. I actually think that's pretty outrageous.
A novel criminal charge and a novel approach to jury instructions. So, according to Judge Juan Merchan, the jury, they don't need to reach a unanimous decision on that phantom election allegation the prosecution was never even able to really describe. An unspecified federal election crime that was never charged or tried anywhere ever in America. Apparently, Judge Merchan believes he's above the law and was perfectly willing to trample on our Constitution at will. Now, we know from the 2020 Supreme Court ruling, Judge Merchan, you may want to pay close attention. Somebody will tell you about this show. It's called Ramos versus Louisiana. I'm sure you've heard of it. You're ignoring it, but you've heard of it. Let me quote it for you. There can be no question either that the Sixth Amendment's unanimity requirement applies to state and federal criminal trials equally. And the law doesn't stop there. Here is the U.S. Supreme Court ruling from Andres v. United States. It says, quote, unanimity in jury verdicts is required where the Sixth and Seventh Amendments apply. That would be our Constitution, Judge. In criminal cases, this requirement of unanimity extends to all issues, character or degree of the crime, guilt and punishment, which are left to the jury. Again, quote, in criminal cases, this requirement of unanimity extends to all issues. I'll repeat, all issues. There's no carve-out for Biden-donating judges like Judge Merchan who hate Donald Trump. Here's another violation of Trump's civil liberties carried out by Judge Juan Merchan and the prosecution. According to Cornell law, well, the Sixth Amendment of our Constitution, it grants all Americans, quote, the right to know who your accusers are, the nature of the charges, and evidence against you. So what is the election crime that Trump is being accused of, and who's making the allegation? The prosecution? They never answered these questions. And now the judge is allowing the jury to choose, well, pretty much their own adventure. Pick whatever crime works for you. As long as there's 12 of you, it doesn't matter the reason. You don't have to agree on that. Just agree that you hate the guy and want him to be guilty. It doesn't even need to be unanimous. This is totally unconstitutional, beyond unethical. Judge Mershon is clearly trying to help the prosecution get this across the finish line despite no evidence of any crime. This after constantly favoring the Constitution, the prosecution sustaining objections, allowing irrelevant, immaterial, dishonest testimony, including misleading speculation that Cohen's prior campaign finance violations are somehow tied to this trial. Oh, and you really can't blame him for stealing. You know, he felt like he was treated badly, and not really a big deal. And Trump's guilt, by the way. And when it came to the defense, Judge Mershon lashed out at Trump's attorneys, berated Trump witness Bob Costello, blocked testimony from an expert witness on election law. Bradley Smith, former FEC chair, overruled most objections. He placed a restrictive gag order, but only on Donald Trump. And then he threatened to throw him in jail if he dared to violate it. This judge is out of control, and now the cards are stacked against Donald Trump. Take a look.
Mother Teresa could not beat these charges. These charges are rigged. The whole thing is rigged. You have a trial like this where the judge is so conflicted he can't breathe. He's got to do his job. And it's not for me, that I can tell you. It's a disgrace. And I mean that. Mother Teresa could not beat those charges, but we'll see. We'll see how we do. It's a very disgraceful situation.
Now, based on the 4 questions, the request from jury deliberations today, it appears the jury, is closely studying the testimony and smear campaign presented by the prosecution. Some believe that is, a conviction that might be forthcoming. Make no mistake, a conviction, it won't be a surprise. As a matter of fact, no outcome here will surprise me. This is a jury selected from New York City and their voter rolls, where Biden won just shy of 90% of the vote. This is a jury tainted by a judge, Juan Mershon, who has been anything but fair. Democrats have weaponized your system of justice. They have shredded your Constitution in the process. And just imagine for a second, if a deep red state like, let's say, Wyoming, Idaho, I don't know, Alabama, cooked up a felony charge against Barack Obama. They used a novel legal theory, then tried the case before a judge who donated to Donald Trump, and on top of that, dumped cinder blocks on the scales of justice and pretty much let the prosecution say anything they want, even accuse the defendant of a crime he's not accused of, or constantly say he broke the law when, in fact, that should not have been admissible. You think that would sit well with the Democratic Party and the mob and the media? I don't think so. But tonight, some good news. If Trump is convicted, this case will go to appeal, and Trump will, in the end, win. And if he is elected, he will have an important opportunity to restore America's system of justice. And you know what? I don't care who the president is. If it's a Republican president, I would never want this type of lawfare, this weaponization of our justice system, to be used against anybody I disagree with politically. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.